From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner. Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Hey, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, 2 p.m. meeting of the Board of Supervisors. And we will first hear from our Assistant County Counsel, Kendra Graham, for a report on action taken in closed session.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The board met in closed session this morning on item numbers 88 and 89 on the AM agenda. There were no reportable actions.
Thank you. We'll begin by considering the consent agenda. Agendas are located on the tables near the doors for anybody wishing to follow along. All items listed with a CA or a C above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda for the Board of Supervisors, while the C represents the consent agenda for the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If members of the audience wish to comment or ask questions regarding an item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken. Members of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. At this time, I'll read the consent agenda items for the Board of Supervisors agenda. And that is items 5 and 6 on page 2, items 7 through 11 on page 3, 12 through 17 on page 4, 18 through 21 on page 5, 22 through 30 on page 6, 31 through 38 on page 7, 39 through 48 on page 8, 49 through 55 on page 9, 56 through 62 on page 10, and lastly 63 through 69 on page 11. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding the consent agenda? Okay. Please come down to the podium.
Please state your name and the item number you wish to address the board on.
My name is Becky Covington Kaiser, and it's item number 46.
Great, thank you.
Okay. There's an old cliche, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I think that could be true for many things. It's definitely true when it comes to annexation. In 2002, the Citizens Advisory Committee on Annexation was formed. I served on that committee for many years, and I can tell you it's an invaluable asset, not only for the county, but also for the citizens of the county that you represent. Some of you are familiar with the Palm Olive annexation, which was the catalyst for numerous policy and law changes from the city of Bakersfield to the state of California. The Palm Olive annexation was also the catalyst for the formation of the Citizens Advisory Committee on Annexations. Currently, the city of Bakersfield is actively pursuing island annexations. Island annexations can leave residents of those areas without a voice. The Citizens Advisory Committee can provide them that voice that they deserve. Could Palm Olive happen again? Of course it could, definitely. Do we still need the Citizens Advisory Committee on Annexations? Of course we do. If Palm Olive doesn't happen again, that would be great. I would be the first one to cheer. But because that is always a possibility, I really believe that we need to continue with our committee. Because the more things change, the more they stay the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers who would like to address the consent agenda?
Thank you. I'm Barbara Fowler, District 3. I'm Mr. Maggard. I'm speaking also on the Citizens Annexation Advisory Committee, which I believe should not be dissolved and should be reactivated and set to work doing what it was designed to do, which is to be a forum for the citizenry. Citizen involvement is always a good thing, an honorable thing, and it should always be encouraged and valued. Making citizen involvement more difficult or impossible is a bad thing, and making it difficult or impossible when it comes to a citizen's home is a very bad thing. This committee has been on a hiatus. Positions on the committee were left unfilled, and annexation dropped out of the headlines. Or as Andy Keehee wrote in Bakersfield.com, the city of Bakersfield is no longer bulldogging large blocks of mature, unincorporated neighborhoods the way it once was. However, island annexations are now being pursued by the city, and under island annexation law, neighborhoods can be annexed with the homeowners never having the right to protest and stop the annexation. The city can even interact with the residents without telling them directly that it plans to annex them, whether they like it or not. And there is no protest hearing at all. That is a very un-American, undemocratic concept in my mind. Putting aside the question about whether an annexation would be good or bad for a neighborhood, why should the city of Bakersfield make the decision for homeowners? They should not. After the community outrage following the Palm Olive annexation in '98, the supervisors wisely created the Citizens Annexation Advisory Committee, allowing citizens to learn more about the process, express their support or disapproval. And the committee's work helped bring changes in state law. 5 changes that were recommended by this committee became state law to make annexation fairer. A lawsuit against the city of Bakersfield forced a ballot, and by a large majority, the neighborhoods voted to return to unincorporated status. They've finally got their voice. Let's not go there again. Please value the opinions and wishes of your constituents. Reform the committee and let it do its work. Make it an unbiased, truth-seeking group that encourages citizen involvement and never, ever cooperate in taking the right of self-determination from your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to address the consent agenda? Please come down to the podium.
It's a little stiff here. Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fields. A long time, 87 years, happy, satisfied county dweller. The old adage, home is where the heart is, could not be truer, for we all treasure the right in making clear, honest, well-informed decisions that affect and protect the homes that we alone have paid for. Annexation affects this future. Now, make no mistake, when annexations are proposed and citizens are honestly and fully informed and they choose this option, we all applaud democracy in action. When citizens do not choose annexation, that is also democracy in action. The key to making the decision is freedom of choice. As you have hopefully been informed, the citizens of the Palm Olive areas were not given this freedom of choice at the time of our very dishonest, unfair, forced annexation. Now, I hope that you will have learned and studied for yourself the history of this unfair occurrence, for you will then fully understand our need for the continuation of the very, very necessary and absolute protection of the Citizens Advisory Committee. The history of the committee and its work are both effective, well-informed, and positive. It is necessary and right for its continuance, for we citizens are ready, able, and willing to continue its work as we have since its inception. And I can say personally, as a recent retiree, I've got the time now to give it my full attention. It was never our choice for it to be discontinued or inactive. Because of the past actions of the very effective committee, our rights as citizens were addressed, and our right to vote on the future of our homes was restored. A right that cost us over $48,000 of our money and 5 years of our lives, resulting in our de-annexation. Because of this committee, the city very willingly, after some good pressure, instituted some necessary rules of a more honest, effective notification process. Rules that have now been abandoned. Yes, I said abandoned. So once again, our citizens are in danger of an unfair, dishonest island annexation process, remembering that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We ask you to please listen to our voice of experience. Now, time does not allow us to go into more detail, but we would certainly be most happy to meet with any and all of you about any questions or any details that you would like to hear. Now, I was born in the show-me state of Missouri. So today, I am here asking you to show us you understand our fears. Show us that as our elected officials, you are listening to our concerns. Show us we can trust you to address our needs. Show us that we have the right to make an informed choice on our very own homes. Show us that you will be there for the people. Show us that our faith in each of you is certainly justified. Show us you will uphold the freedom of choice for our homes. I am here today with a full heart asking you to show us. Please show us.
Thank you. Could we have our next speaker, please? Okay. Any other speakers on the consent agenda?
Good afternoon. I'm Gary Hallen. I'm Assistant City Manager at the City of Bakersfield, and I wanted to just introduce myself to you as board members. Appreciate that you are looking at citizen advisory and want to also just put some comments out there, not really to address anything that was said earlier, because that is in the past, and also kind of looking to the future. The city is under new leadership. Christian Clegg's a new city manager. He's bringing on a new team, and we would like to definitely work with the community and make sure that we have partnerships and build that trust with the community. I know from working actually in counties in my previous part of my career, working with the community is an important part, and building that trust and making sure the community is in support of what you as either a county or a city are doing is critical. So that's something that's part of our approach and doing new and different things that the city is high on our list. So just wanted to say welcome and introduce myself, and I'll be following up with several of your offices to meet with you and get an introduction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Supervisor Couch.
Gary, is it? Or me? Spell your last name for me, would you?
Sure. Hallen.
Okay, thank you. I received an email from you introducing yourself, and I wanted to thank you for that, first of all. Second of all, I wanted to encourage you to engage with the folks that you just heard, because, and this is probably maybe not be their opinion, so I'm not going to state it as theirs, but it's my opinion. They can meet here a million times, but until they meet with you all that are actually going through the motions and conducting the process of an annexation, island annexation, whatever it is, they're not I think their time is well spent talking with you as well, and the elected representatives of the city. So I would just encourage you to talk to introduce yourself to the folks that just spoke, and if you haven't already met them, and engage with them.
I will do that, Supervisor. And in fact, I have already met with Barbara Fowler and plan on having, and as well as Becky, and plan on having some follow-up discussions with Barbara and Becky.
You. And I look forward to
another
getting together
Barbara.
with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Any other speakers on the consent agenda? Please come down to the podium. Okay, seeing none, I will bring it back to the board for any comments or a motion to approve the consent agenda and adjourn as the Board of Supervisors and then reconvene as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District.
I would make that motion. Sorry, I would make that motion, but I want to pull item 46 for separate consideration.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Didn't go through. Thank you. The vote is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scribner.
Okay, we are now sitting as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District, and we'll consider the consent agenda, which includes item C1. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak regarding this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion to approve the consent agenda, adjourn as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District, and then reconvene as the Kern County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you. So we are now sitting as the Kern County Board of Supervisors, and we'll consider item number 2, which is next on our agenda, and that is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask questions for clarification, make referrals to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state and spell your name before making your presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Fox. Some of the mischief I've been up to has been with the State of California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And we'd like to, they're doing some, they're still in the working it out stage. But we're got it in, trying to get them involved with our library system, put on shows for kids, wildlife-y stuff. And it'll take a while. And one thing I'd like to bring up has to do with the libraries. You have a letter that you got from up at Fraser Park. They would like to see you open on Saturdays. And I would also like to bring that up for, as not only for the having Fish and Game put on shows for the kids, is that's a place where the minorities get fed. And that's one thing. The other one has to do with they're not there, they're outside. And we do not have the air that's all that great outside of the libraries for them. Also, there's stuff about books they might be interested in. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak under public presentations?
My name's Eddie Lane. I have a couple handouts here. Wi-Fi or restrooms in underserved neighborhoods. Being passed out is a picture of the closed Casa Loma restroom. Of note, Kern County brought in portable restrooms for the May Parks Commission meeting, which were promptly taken away when the meeting was over. There are also two pictures from Virginia Avenue Park. One shows the park's grass brown because of lack of watering. Another shows human excrement and urine at the park's closed restroom, a health issue. These are two of the 6 restrooms now closed in District 5. No money? Well, in this year's budget, there was $900,000 approved for Rosemont for a restroom and $1.2 million for 2 restrooms at Kern River Campground for paying customers. 3 weeks ago, $3 million was approved for Hard Park, $1.5 million in Kern County general funds, and $1.47 in state per capita funds. The state per capita funds were supposed to reach economically disadvantaged census tracts, such as District 5. Instead, not one per capita dollar or Kern County general dollar is going for restrooms and parks in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods. Rather, those dollars are spent in one park, which will have 6 functioning restrooms. Kern County's general tax revenues are funding have and have-not parks, with the have-not parks located in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods. Also passed out is a letter from the Sierra Club to the U.S. Department of Treasury regarding that $7 million in Wi-Fi money. No community member asked for those Wi-Fi dollars. This is a clear duplication of funding from the state. Wi-Fi or restrooms, brown grass instead of nice green grass at the Kern River Golf Course, which is not metered or reimbursed. Where is common sense management? This is a concern for all Kern County residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak under public presentations? Okay, seeing none, we will now bring it back to the board for board member announcements or reports.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, Supervisor Couch.
Before we go to that, I know that restrooms in parks has been kind of a hot topic lately. I've seen a lot of email traffic back and forth. And I've seen, Mr. Alsup, your responses to some of that, the comments that were made. So, Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, I wanted to just offer Mr. Alsop an opportunity to respond to the comments that were just made, if you want to. I mean, if you...
Sure. Mr. Vice Chair and members of the board, thanks, Supervisor Couch. Listen, we have a handful of park restrooms that are closed. We didn't just go out and close them. We closed them because they were a threat to public health and safety, because they were vandalized and wrecked so bad by the public that they had to be closed. Broken toilets, torn down sinks, bathroom stalls, wrecked locks, there were fires set, etc. So when that happens, we close the restrooms. And historically, this is a pattern, right? They get wrecked, they get closed, we go out and spend money and fix them, we reopen them, they get wrecked again, we close them, fix them, and so on. These handful of restrooms, Mr. Lane brought up a couple, Virginia and Casa Loma. We're getting ready to reopen those two restrooms, I think, in the next couple of weeks, which means we're going in to fix the vandalism and to open the old restrooms with some repair so that they're open. Both of those restrooms are on a list to be completely redone. Removed and recreated and rebuilt. Brand new facilities sometime over, I hope, in the next 8 to 12 months, they're on that list, and we will do that. As far as parks funding in the 5th, we're spending a great deal of money there. Bell Terrace has received close to $2 million in investment since I've been here. Thanks to Supervisor Perez. Heritage Park is being completely redone. Almost $5 million is being spent there to completely redo that park. Vicky Araujo Park is getting all sorts of new things. I think that price tag is about $400,000. Pioneer. I'm forgetting a lot of the names of the parks, but there is I would tell you that there is more investment per acre being done in the 5th District and 5th District's parks than any other supervisorial district. I shared that data with the Parks Commission. Mr. Lane was not in attendance, but there's quite a bit of investment, and these restrooms will be repaired. We are spending money on new restrooms, but again, we're dealing with, these restrooms not only get wrecked, but they're also used for criminal activity. There's illegal drug use. We've had people murdered in these restrooms. It's a challenge to make sure that they're nice. In terms of the brown grass that Mr. Lane saw, respectfully, he was here a few weeks ago talking about water conservation. And the need to conserve more water. We're doing our best. We'd like to have the grass green and trimmed, but we're doing our best to conserve water. I hope that provides some context.
It does, and I will withhold any other comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Supervisor. Supervisor Perez?
Thank you, Chair. Eddie, thank you for being here. And I want to suggest that you put some pressure on the city of Bakersfield the way that you do here, which is totally welcomed, and you're right, and I appreciate your passion and love for Kern County Parks. We have, Ryan's team and I, in conjunction with a $70 million STEM school in the MLK area, curb, gutter, and a whole host of economic investment opportunities that include the likes of JP Lake and others that are looking at this region in a whole new way because of the willingness that we have to build the infrastructure and put the money in. Now, the county has done almost all of that. That land abuts to the city. The city may annex that property in the future. These benefits are being done really very likely for future city residents. And it's really the county that's doing the major investing without asking about turf warfare. So I would ask you, Eddie, to please engage the city of Bakersfield, because the county is spending the big dollars. It's our folks going out and getting the big grant money, and we need to. That's our job. We're supposed to be doing it. I feel very good about the work that we're doing there, in particular the commitment to the children of that Southeast Bakersfield community, of which my CAO's team has been passionately behind, to ensure that the amenities at that park fit not just the functionality of that school and its community, but the aesthetics of it, and have a desired appeal for more folks to come in and bring opportunities and resources to the community. So, you know, I respect and appreciate your passion. I also respect and appreciate the work being done by the county CAO's office in those parks, as well as that community, to lift that community up and bring a little TLC there. Kathy Kraus, thank you very much. Thank you, Eddie, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Are there any other members of the public who would like to make comments under public presentations? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to board member announcements or reports. Anything from members of the board? No? All right, then we'll move on to item number 4 under Planning and Natural Resources Department. I'll ask Ms. Oviatt, our director, to start us off on this item. Excuse me, thank you, Ms. Kraus. Ms. Kraus would like to make sure I announce that we do have an interpreter, Fernando Lopez, who is here today, and Mr. Lopez is walking down the aisle right there. Mr. Lopez, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay. Antes de comenzar, quiero anunciar que tenemos un intérprete disponible para cualquier persona en el presente que requiere traducción para estos procedimientos del artículo 4 del inglés al español. Ya todos tienen sus audífonos, ¿verdad? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Oviatt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Scribner. This is a joint presentation. I am here with the departments that have participated in the AB 617 process for Arvin Lamont. So I'm here with Director of Fankhauser, the Ag Commissioner, Interim Director Lux from Public Works, and I am the Director of Planning and Natural Resources. The item before your board today is an extension of your action on February 9th, when your board's 2021, when your board supported the selection of the Arvin Lamont, which also includes Fuller Acres and all of those communities in that boundary, by the California Air Resources Board for an AB 617 process. So the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District implements this. This is called the State Community Air Protection Program, and the Arvin Lamont community was selected. This is a community involvement admirably led by the San Joaquin Air District staff, and the county and the city of Arvin act as advisors, technical advisors. The community members, which comprised 52 community residents, 12 individuals representing environmental justice organizations, healthcare organizations, educational entities, and businesses in the community, all work together to identify site-specific emissions in their community and activities that they would like to see changed. There is an estimated, a minimum of $30 million that the state has allocated to this. The community has been well organized, and we are here today to ask for your support and your 3 comments that we would like to make to the San Joaquin board that is meeting on Thursday. I don't want to take up all the time. The community is here, and this is their plan. They do have comments, and I have provided to you 2 written comments that were provided to what we call the CSC, one from the Farm Bureau and one from Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. So those comments, which were provided to them, have been provided to you. The 3 specific comments that we are asking you to provide to the Air District Board is, first, there is on the 13 funding allocation measures, there are 3 that potentially commit county general funds beyond the $30 million, minimum $30 million for the CARB AB 617 allocation. One of them is for urban greening and vegetative, and the second is for vegetative barriers. While we do believe that these are important attributes which could really help not just with upgrading the quality of life in the community, but mitigating the air impacts of PM10, based on recommendations from Public Works, we are asking that you provide a comment that unless there is a ongoing funding source for maintaining those, the county controls no water, can contribute no water, and if there's landscaping along a county road right-of-way, it would be subject to 218 votes, and we don't have any funding for that. So we are asking that you support that measure with this comment that an ongoing permanent funding source needs to be provided and worked out if the county is asked to place these kinds of vegetative landscape strips along the road right-of-way. The second one is there is $12 million identified for road improvements, sidewalks, and bike paths. The community talked a lot about this. Some of this is paving roadways, providing sidewalks. Based on the experience of the last AB 617, which was Shafter and a portion of unincorporated, Public Works felt that it would be more useful to actually provide a list of possible locations. That has been attached to your board letter along with a map, and Director Lux can answer any questions you have about it. But we are suggesting that that be provided to the San Joaquin Air District, that be provided to the CSC, so that when they start trying to figure out what kinds of projects they would like to implement, that they have some direction. As you know, since your board reviews road improvement projects, these can be complicated. If you pick a place where you have to move lots of things, it can be very expensive. There could be drainage issues. There could be lack of right-of-way. We are interested that your board provide direction that we would like to maximize the use of this estimated $12 million and actually do projects. So we are respectfully offering this list as just a starting point for the committee. The last measure is Measure 5, which is about reducing exposure to pesticides. As you have heard from the community on numerous occasions, this is a complicated situation. The community believes that there should be more notification. Since the discussions began on this, the state has instituted 5 pilot projects that are around the state to look at what's the best way to do this kinds of notification. The recommendations in the report right now are that we wait for that statewide, that we continue discussions about local issues, and we believe that that is the correct recommendation. The overall recommendation is that we provide a joint comment on behalf of your board to the Air District Board with these comments, as well as asking for adoption and implementation of the Community Emission Reduction Program as reflective of the community values and the goal of reducing air emissions. I'm available with a recommendation, and we are available for questions, and we look forward to hearing the comments from the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oviatt. I appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the board before I open the hearing yet?
Thank you.
Supervisor Perez, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Thank you to the public. I'm really excited about hearing this, and I want to say really a special tipping of my hat to the Planning Department, Ms. Lorelei and your fabulous team. I know your heart, and I know the art of the possible with you is magic. And so this is exciting for me, one of many, many steps, right, in a new chapter for Kern County. So I'm just so pleased and grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. Ask if there are any members of the public that would like to make comment on item 4. Please come forward to the microphone.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Gustavo Aguirre Jr. I'm the director for Kern County for Central California Environmental Justice Network. I'm also the co-chair for the AB 617 Shafter and the co-lead for AB 617 Arvin and Lamont. So I've been following this law since the inception of it and have been advocating with residents, to move forward on these strategies. So very excited that some of these strategies that were talked about in the community made it to here in front of you guys here for the Board of Supervisors. This is very much a community-driven approach to looking at how capital investments go into community with the clear and direct nexus of reducing air pollution. And so the vegetative barriers, one that was talked about, is one that residents looked at and say, okay, there's a potential for reducing that exposure, whether it be next to industrial sources of pollution, agricultural practices, et cetera. But I think one just very excited that this is moving forward. One concern I have is that, some of the measures were cherry-picked, right? In the overall recommendations, it talks about the reflection of community values and understanding that Kern County Ag Commissioner has 2 active notification programs, one with bees, another one with grower to grower. We believe that implementing a community-wide pesticide notification system is something that would go a long ways, right? Along with the many other measures that we're looking at here. And then really excited to hear how some of these measures on the sidewalks, on the road improvements moving forward. I know we did a full mapping exercise where residents went out there and put dots and stars, named streets of they believe is best recommendation. But this list here, I think, is a good start to kind of snowball that conversation. In conclusion, I just want to say that from the 25 plus measures that came out, these 4 measures really look at early adoption and such like in Shafter, a lot of the measures that we talked about were early adoption, stuff that the Air District and the county already does. And so these are step forwards, but we do recommend that the entire community values are implemented in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sandra Plasencia. I'm a policy advocate with Leadership Council.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name slowly?
Yes, Sandra Plasencia. Plasencia.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. And as I was saying, I'm part of the Arvin Lamont AB 617 Steering Committee as well. First of all, I want to acknowledge the work and dedication community members have put into making this SERP possible. Members in Arvin, Lamont, Furler Acres, Weedy Patch have all expressed concern over the emissions currently polluting the air, and we have spent the last year working alongside the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution District. So I just wanted to include that some of the members have expressed the concern over pesticides and the fact that it's affected their health, as in they've had fatigues, headache, respiratory problems, stomach issues, and so much more. A lot of the pesticides are airborne, so they take them home with them. It affects their kids, their dogs, and everything. Their house gets infected with the pesticides. And community members have explained that application buffers would help reduce the exposure to pesticides and aid in the safety of communities' health. So the SERP language states, implementation regarding the pesticide application exposure reduction, including expanding monitoring, local notification, and mitigation practices, such as application buffers within the community. So I just want to urge the county to work with the air districts in order to make sure that we implement those application buffers. And we also urge the Ag Commissioner to work with them as well. So yeah, I just wanted to thank the community for all the work that they've put into this. It was a long process, but they did it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Anabel Márquez.
My name is Annabelle Marquez,
Y vengo de la ciudad de Shafter.
and I'm here from the city of Shafter.
Estamos aquí
We are here
para no aprobar la carta de recomendación.
para no aprobar,
No aprobar
to
esa
not
carta.
approve that letter of recommendation
Porque son tantas cosas para las industrias y lo poco que queremos nosotros no nos lo dan.
Because there's so many things for the industries, but the few things that we want, we do not receive.
Anoche estuvimos en junta con el AB 617.
Okay, last night we were in a meeting with AB
617.
AB 617.
Y estuvimos mirando opciones
And we were looking over some of the options
de cómo hacer las vallas verdes.
of how to do the green stretches, the green islands.
Estamos viendo la planta más barata
We are looking at the cheapest plants
para cubrir las zonas de carreteras
to cover the zones where the roads are,
donde sale todo el polvo
where all the dust comes from,
que no deja ver los carros cuando están cruzando por la
which
calle.
lowers the visibility, thus where you cannot see the cars when they're crossing the street.
Que no es una visibilidad segura.
It's not a safe visibility.
Y aparte corta la contaminación.
Furthermore, it would also cut down on the pollution.
Esa planta es el laurel.
That plant is called a laurel.
Se hace un bonche, se agranda por pies
They get huge, they multiply by feet,
y no necesita mucha agua.
and they do not require much water.
No necesita mucho trabajo.
They do not require much uptake or maintenance.
Eso sería una opción para no gastar tanto
That would be one option to avoid spending so much
y ayudar a que no se contamine la demás.
and cut down on the pollution.
Los árboles también son necesarios
Trees are also necessary,
y tuvieron la opción de que cada persona pudiera tener un árbol en su casa y lo cuide.
and they gave the option to where each person could have one tree at their house and then they take care of it.
Eso no le daría dinero para que la ciudad componga dinero para eso.
¿Eso no qué?
No, la ciudad no tiene que pagar por
The
eso.
city would not have to pay for that expense.
Hemos visto que las industrias ya agarraron la mayor parte del dinero.
We have seen that the industries have taken already their great percentage of the money available.
Cosas que el Estado o el gobierno tenía que haber puesto a sus industrias antes
Things that the government should have provided the industries beforehand.
de tener que uno darles dinero para no contaminar. Nosotros, pues, el AB 617.
Okay. Something that should have been done before us, the AB 617, before we should have spent our own money on doing that.
Se les dio dinero al petróleo,
Money
a los
was given to
rancheros,
the oil industry, to the farmers,
a los rancheros,
the farmers,
y ahora se les quiere dar filtros para los restaurantes
and now they're trying to provide restaurants with filters.
que dicen que es para que no contaminen.
They say it's to avoid pollution.
Mi opción sería que
My option would be
respeten las necesidades de las comunidades.
to respect the needs of the communities.
Como el dinero que está diciendo la señora que se ha dado,
¿Cuál señora?
la señora
Okay, like the money that the lady said has been spent.
no pronunció el dinero que el AB 617 le dio al comisionado para notificación.
She did not include the money given to them by the AB 617 to the commissioner to provide notice.
Porque sabemos que sí que hay ese dinero para él, para que nos dé esa notificación.
We do know that money exists for him to give to us for the notice.
Pienso que si todos trabajáramos juntos,
I believe that if we all are able to work together
conscientes
consciously
de una humanidad más sana,
for a safer humanity,
no hubiera esa desigualdad entre inversionistas y comunidades.
there will be not the inequality that exists between the investors and the communities would not exist.
Por favor,
Please,
les pedimos
we ask of you
que no pase esta carta.
for this letter not to be approved.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please?
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Estela Escoto y soy de la comunidad de Arvin.
My name is Estela Escoto, and I am from the community of Arvin.
Pues yo, igual que mis compañeros, estoy aquí
Like my companions, I am also here
para pedirles que apoyen
to request the support
el proyecto de árboles,
the tree project.
ya que en nuestra comunidad de Arvin,
Given that our community in Arvin,
como todos sabemos, es una comunidad muy contaminada
as we all know, is a very polluted community,
y estamos rodeados de files.
and we're surrounded by fields.
Y lo que yo les vengo a pedir aquí a ustedes
What I come here to request of you
es que apoyen esa barrera de árboles,
is to support that tree belt or
Ya-
tree barrier
ya que cuando es la cosecha de la almendra,
when when it's time for the almond harvest,
independientemente del polvo que se levanta,
independently of all the dust that's lifted,
ese polvo va cargado con tanta contaminación
that dust is laden with so many contaminants
y que se va a nuestras casas.
and then finds its way into our homes.
Y nuestros familiares y nosotros lo absorbemos.
And that is absorbed by ourselves and our family members.
Tenemos familiares enfermos de asma,
We have family members that are sick with asthma,
de cáncer,
cancer,
de alergias.
allergies.
Y yo creo que es tan poquito lo que pedimos
I think what we're asking for is so small, so
De que apoyen
minuscule, for your support.
esa barrera de árboles,
That green buffer zone
que ahorita
or
con,
tree buffer zone.
los proyectos que tenemos de la 617,
Right now, with the projects we have with the AB 617,
creemos que es algo bueno para las comunidades.
we believe this is something good for the communities.
También pedimos que haya esas notificaciones,
We also request those notifications.
ya que teniendo esas notificaciones nosotros podríamos decidir
We have those notifications. We can decide for ourselves
si salimos o no salimos a la hora que estén echando estos pesticidas.
we can decide whether to go out or not to go out during the time that the pesticides are being applied.
Esa es nuestra petición y
That's-
espero que lo tomen en cuenta.
Our request, and I hope that you consider them.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Yo me llamo Minerva Hernández
My name is Minerva Hernandez.
y estoy también aquí apoyando el proyecto de las vallas protectoras de los árboles.
I'm also here in support of the project that the tree barrier.
Sí, yo tengo 40 años viviendo en Shafter
I've been living in Shafter for 40 years.
y me consta que esas vallas protectoras trabajan porque yo vivía alrededor de las
I
huertas de
maintain
almendra.
that those protective barriers do work. I used to live next to the almond trees.
Y hace como 6 años pusieron una allí por la Burbank
¿Por dónde? Burbank?
Avenida, ahí en Shafter.
About 6 years ago, they installed one of those by Bourbon or
Sí.
Burbank?
Burbank Avenida.
Burbank Avenue.
Antes que estaba eso, amanecía la sala, los cuartos llenos de polvo.
Before that was installed, our living rooms would, when we woke up in the morning, they'd be full of dust, powder.
Y ya pusieron esas vallas protectoras
Once
y
those
ayudaron.
protective barriers
Un
were
poco.
installed, that
Sí,
helped a little.
ayudaron.
They did help.
Yo soy una persona que no fumo ni tomo ni nada.
I am a person who does not drink, does not smoke, nothing.
Y tengo el asma muy alto que
I have very
uso
high asthma.
el apartito ese para la asma.
I use that apparatus for
Uno
the
en la mañana
asthma.
y uno en la noche.
One in the morning, one at night.
Y por eso pues estoy luchando también para que pase ese proyecto.
That's why I'm fighting for that project to pass,
Así para que vivamos una vida más saludable.
so we can all live a healthier life.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sí. Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Mi nombre es Felipa Trujillo
My name is Felipa Trujillo.
y yo vivo en Shafter.
I live in Shafter.
Yo vivía en el norte, en San José,
I used to live up north in San
y
Jose,
me vine a Shafter, según yo, a relajarme,
and I moved to Shafter supposedly to relax.
pero me encuentro con un problema muy grande ahí
But I found myself in the middle of a big problem there
porque hay mucha contaminación.
There's a lot of pollution, contamination.
Es un problema muy grande que tenemos ahí,
It's a very
que no
big
podemos,
problem that we have there that we cannot
no podemos salir a caminar.
go out for walks.
Y en la noche hay muy fuerte olor
At nighttime, there's
de
a very
cuando-
strong stench
de cuando riegan los pesticidas
when they
en
water
las,
the pesticides.
en las huertas de almendra, porque las casas están rodeadas de esas huertas.
Okay. The houses where they're surrounded by the almond trees.
Y por eso estamos aquí apoyando a la comunidad.
That is why the community is here in support of.
Estamos pidiendo zonas verdes para los lugares.
We are requesting green belts for those places.
La avenida Lerdo
On Lerdo Avenue
y Shafter Avenue,
and Shafter Avenue.
que hay muchas huertas de almendras.
There's a lot of almond trees there, almond groves.
Porque ese pesticida que ponen
That pesticide that is applied
se va a la orilla del camino
goes to the edge of the road,
y la tierra con el tiempo hace un microbio.
and with time, it mixes with the dirt and causes the microbe.
Y eso da la fiebre del valle.
That leads to valley fever.
A mis nietos les ha dado y a mi esposo le dio la fiebre del valle.
My husband and my grandchildren have been stricken by valley fever.
Así que por eso les estamos pidiendo de favor
That is why we requested a favor of you
que nos ayuden en eso,
to
en
help
poner
us in installing
los árboles.
those trees.
Todo, muchas gracias.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, board. I'm here as a resident of Arvin.
Would you state your name, please?
Oh, my name is Bianca Santoyo. I've come to you many number of times, and for my ask is to have the notification possible. As you've seen, the Shafter ladies have worked on this process for a very long time, and having Arvin and Lamont as in support to making this possible, as Gustavo mentioned, there's already a plan here in the Kern County area, and the state was looking at the Kern County area as a recommendation for a statewide notification. But as Lorelei mentioned, there's other counties that are taking the lead of them, because our ag commissioner did not want to participate in being part of the example, kind of what you call a tester for the statewide notification. But here we do have money allocated. We are recommending to the board of the Air District to have money allocated for the notification to happen in Arvin and Lamont. These are communities that are, as you've heard, they're surrounded by agriculture. Our children are being exposed on a daily basis. My child, her school is right across from a field, and yet nobody's protecting her. None of the children are being protected. The daycares are in the same position, and that is alarming for parents to deal with this problem, and it's an ongoing problem. But yet, between grower and grower, they're allowed to know what kind of chemicals are being applied, but we're not allowed to know what are we being exposed to. We don't know if our problems, our respiratory problems, are caused because of all these chemicals that are being applied. So that is alarming, and we want your support in making this possible. As Lorelei mentioned, she wants us to wait until the statewide rolls out, but no, we're actually here to petition that we want it now. We have the money allocated now, and we want your guys' support to making this possible. We can't wait another day. We can't wait another year until the Ag Commission or anybody else decides to make this possible. Thank you.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, Ryan, I am confused and dismayed why this issue has not been addressed. And I know it's not your fault, and I know it's not Lorelei's fault, but I've asked Supervisor Couch on 3 separate occasions to help me address this issue, even though it's not in my district. I don't know what his interest is in doing that. I would certainly like to hear from you, given that these are your constituents, but I have waited now almost a year graciously asking the public to please allow myself to be a part of this conversation, David, because it's important. I don't know what the answers are. I'm not an expert, but the fact that people keep coming up here and you keep ignoring them and we just act like it's not happening, I think is really problematic, Ryan, and we have to do something about it. I don't know what the answers are, but this is not okay. I'm sorry. Lorelei, can you
Ms.
help?
Sylvia.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. I just want to be clear. This is the moment when we are going to address it. This issue of a statewide notification was originally part of the AB 617 shafter. They're all referring to shafters that was already adopted, that there was money in shafters. And the county was not as invited to participate in the AB 617. It was supposed to be the city of Shafter, and then they expanded the boundaries and did not include us. We now are doing one for Arvin-Lamont. This issue has been extensively discussed. They do have the right to come before your board and ask, but the Air District, the Department of Pesticide Regulation, and everyone else, through extensive Zooms, except for 2 I have been on, Glenn has been on, since, every month, in this report, has not recommended this. This is the moment when we are resolving it. And it has been resolved through, it's not resolved yet. It is before your board today. This is the moment. The community believes that the other pilot projects, which is about, I'll let the Ag Commissioner address it, but my understanding is $10 million or some amount, is other counties are already moving through that process. We believe that now that moment is past to be part of a pilot project. There's already pilot projects going on. There's a number of different workshops that are going on. Whatever we do would be counter to that. So that was our recommendation. We are only advisory. The San Joaquin Air District put together this report, and in the report, they didn't recommend it. They are now here today. This is the moment to ask your board, would you advise and recommend the pilot program? That's what we're doing today. So I just want to clarify that for purposes of the discussion today. They are asking that your letter to the San Joaquin Air District Board say, please put the pilot program into the Arvin-Lamont. I'm saying that correctly. Bianca's shaking her head. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so I just want to clarify that for everyone's benefit. Thank you.
That's really helpful, Lorelei. So it's your opinion that as it relates to this project that we're past the pilot or the previous one?
I'm going to let, when you've taken all the public testimony, the recommendation is you open public testimony, which you have, you close public testimony, and then I think you can get your input here and your questions answered. So very good. I would recommend that you take more public testimony.
Excellent.
Since they've
Thank
all
you
been
so
waiting.
much, Lorelei. Very
Thank
helpful.
you.
Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next public speaker, please.
Good afternoon, members and audience. My name is Jeff Rasmussen. Probably the foremost person to know about pesticide notification. I helped develop statewide spray safe organization. I've helped develop with Ruben Arroyo or Kern County notification program. I worked with local Kern High School Board of Supervisors, Kern High School School District, active members, activists to develop Kern County High School notification that was going to notify people around schools, the parents, that if there was going to be a pesticide applied next to schools. As Kern County Farm Bureau president, we sent out 10,000 letters, and we went to 7 schools asking and requesting parents of those schools around the farm, the schools with farms adjacent to those farms. Then we went to Shafter, Miramonte, Arvin, Frontier, and Independence. Of the 10,000 letters, Supervisor Perez, that were sent out to those schools, to those parents, 1 parent from every school came to discuss this matter. that wanted notification. 10,000 letters went out, and roughly one parent came to those meetings to discuss this.
Thank you for that.
I helped clarify again that I helped during those spray safe organizations to develop a beware notification to get the beekeepers statewide to communicate with us in farming. They weren't showing up to those conversations. So with the help of other people in California farming, we developed the beware. There's a lot of other information behind that. It'll take me 2 days to talk about this. For clarification, we in the industry want to work with our neighbors. We have to. Our children are living here. Our children live on the farm. It's no different if they're across the street or on the farm. This is our community as well. If you want a tree barrier and you remove the almonds across the street from you, what are you gonna have? This valley's changed from 1 million acres of cotton to 1 million acres of almonds. Statewide, we're not getting carbon sequestration for those trees out there. But everyone wants a tree barrier. I'm confused on this, Supervisor Perez. So,
I'm totally confused too. I promise you, this is not my area of expertise. And unfortunately, these issues are so political and there's so many agendas swirling out there of which I don't think these people have. These are good faith players, but there are very big agendas that are, just complicated.
I know, and I've been working on this notification to effectively work. So when people throw out statewide notification, shouldn't that raise a concern of why is it statewide and not neighbor to neighbor? We got one of the best agriculture commissioners who's working with those people, have presented proposals to those people.
So what's the disconnect in your mind? You've been on this for a while. You hear the testimony coming down. I don't think these people are being dishonest about the way they feel.
Extreme noise versus just talking. Just talking, working with honest people. There are people we've been trying for a very long time to make this successful. But people have bigger agendas other than Kern County. We've done pilot projects.
Oh, you're saying the fact that the request is statewide shows how political it is in its origin, if you will.
I've been working on it since 2006.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I have a political problem here, as you can see. We have constituents.
No, you don't. They're community problems.
Okay, no, actually, it is a political problem because it's now into the chambers over the course of a year, and I feel more people are coming now, more feel disconnected, more upset. Whether that's true or not, that is a political issue. So I don't know the details because I'm not the expert. I'm telling you we have a political problem here because we have folks coming down with children that feel very authentic to me. Maybe they don't know all the details. I don't know them either. But this issue is not getting resolved, and I'm just confused about it. That's all.
And let me offer this. People have been trying to work on our side in farming and regulatory. Trust me, we've been working on this because I can show you all the developments of bee notification. All these notifications are working because the people that need the intent information know. Does that make sense?
Can we get together? I'd like to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I thank you for letting me go beyond my time.
I'd appreciate it. I need to learn from you.
Yes. Thank you for letting me go beyond my time. Again, locally, I can tell you locally, Kern County leads the issue on notification, period. We've developed sound, effective communications. I assure you the people in this community are receiving the best pesticide applications of neighbor to neighbor. We've improved this year after year after year, from worker to worker, from farmer to farmer, from our neighbors. We're working with the Kern High School District. We're working with beekeepers. Statewide notification is not the right answer. Locally, it is. And we've given several opportunities for that to work, and several were denied because of a bigger problem statewide. So, thank you again for this time, and we care about our community. It may not look like that, and I understand that. And as you know, it's very hard. There's many players. I can tell you a reason why. The pesticides of restricted materials and materials that I personally recommend have reduced significantly. We have the safest food in the world, bar none. Okay? I appreciate your time and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rasmussen. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Gustavo Aguirre with Center on Race, Poverty and the Environment, and steering committee member for the Shafter 617 and Arvin 617. And I think I will start with the request for you, and then I explain. And I think our request for you is, please be open. Don't kill the ideas before we start talking. I think that's the main ask that we are asking with all the prior comments. So that's what we are asking. And I think in general, this letter, the recommended letter, is to start putting barriers on potential ideas. I understand, the water issue and the economic issue, but here in this letter, you are trying to reduce the options. And I agree, with the prior comments. There are many ways to make things work. There are many ways, and I believe that growers want to work with us. On 2010, I was leading the community efforts to implement buffer zones here in Kern County. And those happened. And Ruben Arroyo was the ag commissioner at that time. He outreached to the growers. And all the growers approved it. Only one grower made comments against it. The big growers, the Guimarras, the Greenways, all of them supported it. And Mr. Glenn was involved in that process. I have pictures of him in Arvin having meetings with Mr. Arroyo and ourselves. We know that Kern County can do better. And we are not asking to, disappear the ag. Ag is one of the two biggest industries here. We got it. We may not have, titles on education, but we got it. I'm a farm worker also. But please don't stop us. And I heard that the growers are willing to do that also. And I think the recent problem that we are facing is, for one of the agencies, county agencies, is not being willing to talk to us, to look for options. And I think, Supervisor Perez, to your comments, that's the frustration of the community. Why we have right now residents from Shafter making comments if this letter is for Arvin Lamont? Because as Mrs. Maribel mentioned, last night we just met and we start looking for ways how to use these barriers to reduce the dust and the pesticide exposure to the community. We just started doing that. And if you approve that, saying, no, we don't want, the county does not want to support these ideas, there are only some restrictions. But the message that you will be sending is the county is not willing to support these ideas. And if you're not willing to do that, to consider those, we are not, I think at this point, things are not set on stone. We want to explore ideas. And if you approve these restrictions, you will say the county is not willing to do that, and you will send the ideas to others. Last night we were talking, growers got 20, 40,000 to buy new tractors. Why they don't come back and put, those barriers? How much they will pay, We are looking for ideas. And I think our request for you, the supervisors, is don't close those options. We know that we need to talk, we need to have the conversations, and we are looking forward to those conversations with growers, and our hope is that the county ag commissioner will be engaged, because what was approved in Arvin-Lamont is that all the agencies, including Kern County, meaning the ag commissioner, will be engaged in conversations in looking to improve the buffer zones that we have, understanding that we need to also take care of the ag and let us grow the food we need it. We got that, but we need to have the conversations. Without conversations, we are going nowhere. And pesticides is one of the contaminants that we are having to deal here. So our request for you is, please keep your mind open and supporting us. I think about the barriers, many residents made comments, and for Arvin-Lamont, talking about looking for ways to reduce the pesticide, it was 100% approved. All the steering committee members voted in favor.
Mr. Aguirre, you are, and respectfully, you're way over time here. Yeah. So can you wrap up your comments, please?
Yeah. So all the, and just to mention, I think many other people that came were given more time. So I just respectfully ask for the same, same time.
And you've gotten it.
Yeah. So 100% of the residents supported to look for better ways to protect ourselves from pesticides. Most of the county agencies are open to meet with us. Mr. Ryan, the Public Works, Mrs. Lorelei just gave me copies of the comments this morning, which I really appreciate. But we don't have the experience with the Ag Commissioner. And we ask you to encourage the Ag Commissioner to get engaged with the 617 Arvin-Lamont in looking for those options. That's what we are asking. At this point, it's nothing specific. It's please encourage your Ag Commissioner to seriously engage in these communications and discussions with the community. Thank you.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Thank you, Gustavo. And I'm not going to ask my Ag Commissioner whether he has been unwilling to meet with you, because I don't want to have that discussion here. But I am going to ask him publicly to please meet with these folks. I'm willing to attend. I will do everything I can to reach resolution. I don't want more trouble here, but this has gone too far. And it is an embarrassment for me personally and to this county that we are still talking about this. Still talking about it. It's embarrassing. Lorelei, if you could please intervene, I'd appreciate it.
Well, since I keep getting called out, Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
Supervisor Couch.
Okay. And I don't like to do this. I was not going to make an issue of it. But Supervisor Perez, specifically a minute ago, you said you've been waiting on me to have a meeting with you or to discuss this with you. We've had at least 2 meetings on the books with the Secretary of Agriculture.
And it's worked really well by the constituents.
And I was in attendance, but you weren't. That's not my fault. I can't be there for you.
These are your constituents, not mine.
That's
do your job, David.
That's absolutely correct. But you're not. I don't believe you heard a word that Lorelei just said.
You're really upset. You haven't done your job.
We haven't even taken an action on this item yet, and this is where, as Lorelei pointed out, where we're going to take the action. Would you like to hear it, or do you want to grandstand for a while longer? I don't know.
Ms. Oviatt, do you have something to add, please?
Yes, certainly Mr. Fankhauser has something, but I did want to point out, just to clarify, the recommendation on the comment is that we support the vegetative barriers. We support the green. We are merely commenting that given our budget, the Kern County General Fund cannot support this localized contribution for maintenance. That's all the comment says. And we are asking them to find other options. So just to clarify, we're not, this comment is not asking your board not to support vegetation. And that is consistent with the CAO's direction that, committing the general fund to one area Maybe there's grants, maybe Caltrans can put up the money, maybe CARB can put up the money. There's lots of other ideas, and we agree with that. Second of all, I do want to be specific before the Ag Commissioner comments, that the specific direction comment is the Kern County Board of Supervisors will continue to direct staff to participate in discussions on DPR programs and implement any statewide mandatory programs. So the recommendation is to continue to participate in discussions.
I'm sure there's going to be other questions for me, but I just want to put it out there and make it clear that the implication is that I'm not willing to meet. I've never refused a request for a meeting with anybody, and if someone in the public knows something different, I'd like to know that, because that's not the case. I've always been open to anybody walking into my office. I'm there most of the time, freely available to anyone. So.
Thank you. Do we have any other members of the public before I close public comment that would like to speak? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, members of the board. Romeo Agbalog, Executive Director, Kern County Farm Bureau. Here today, you have a copy of a letter that was prepared by the Farm Bureau and signed by our current board president, Patty Perret, that goes into greater specifics about our comments. But I just wanted to give you a very brief summary for your board to consider this afternoon. First of all, I think it's important to recognize that while the community of Arvin-Lamont and its environs suffer a tremendous amount of issues related to pollutants, that we understand that not all of the pollutants are generated by local sources. A lot of it transfers over from other areas of the state. For example, when we had our forest fires in Northern California, a lot of that debris and pollutants migrated across the state over into that area and deposited there, causing increased problems. So as we move forward with trying to mitigate pollutants, I think it's important to recognize that local sources, the communities, folks who operate there, people who live there, didn't generate it all by themselves. Another thing, in looking at the report, first of all, to say congratulations and thank you to all the various agencies who participated, community organizations, residents, and other stakeholder groups. Appreciate the opportunity to engage as well and chime in. But looking at the report, notice that mobile sources are also a big contributor to pollutants. And with that being said, I think supporting transportation projects that reduce things like idling, I think would be very helpful. And then lastly, I know a lot's been said about pesticide notifications and such. And the State Department of Pesticide Regulations is engaged in a process to develop a statewide notification system. Your local area, Kern County Farm Bureau, is involved in that process and plans to participate. And the department just announced at the end of this month a series of dates for public workshops. We will be participating in that. We'd encourage that the County of Kern do the same as well. And anybody else who's interested, information on those dates is available through DPR's website. So with that, I'll conclude my comments. I thank you for the time, and thank you all again for working together to bring forward this proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Agbalog. Are there any other public comments? I am going to close the hearing when. Can we speak again? No, you've spoken once, and respectfully, everybody gets one opportunity. And so I'm going to, if there are no additional speakers who have not spoken before, I'm going to close the public hearing and return to the board. Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. I don't have the letter, and I don't see it in our packet, a draft of the letter. Do you have it?
The draft letter is the 3 points that are highlighted in bold in your board letter.
That will comprise, the letter
That
will
would comprise the letter along with the final recommendation signed by the three of us on behalf of the board.
Well, I know it says in the paragraph here, and you recited it. It helps to have read the agenda. You can have a much better discussion about the topic. It's the last paragraph before recommendation under Measure 5.
Yes.
And I'll read to you the last sentence. Instead, it provides a framework of commitments from the state regulatory agencies and asks the county agricultural commissioner to continue to participate in discussions and implementation when a statewide program is adopted. And I'm curious if we could, then it goes on to say the recommendation, which is to direct staff to provide a comment to the Air District and CARB staff, accepting the recommendations in the SERP on this measure and declining to implement a local pesticide notification program until the state adopts a statewide program. And I'm wondering if we could add, just to make it very clear, but remaining open to a locally developed notification system if feasible, or something to that effect.
Certainly.
Because that's the intent as I read this. We're not closing the door on that.
That's correct. Two options. Two options I'd like to provide. One, I can take out the words that say that you decline to adopt a local and simply say that you would continue to direct staff to participate in discussions on DPR programs.
Decline at this time or something like that.
I can take out the decline at this time or add decline at this time and then add words that we will continue discussions on locally implemented measures.
That's fine too.
Is that
either one
the
accomplishes
sense that you have?
Accomplishes what I think you were trying to say anyway. What I'd like to say. You want to take a minute and?
Yes, if I may.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask for a?
Of course.
Thank you. You don't even know what I was asking for. A short recess?
I can read your mind.
Thank you.
and so it may not fully capture where you want to go. So the recommendation would be that the Kern County Board of Supervisors will direct staff to engage with CARB, DPR, the district, and the Community Steering Committee regarding expanding exposure mitigation practices in the community. Kern County staff will also engage with CARB, DPR, the District and Community Steering Committee regarding the consideration for development of local pesticide measures and implement any statewide mandatory program. So the difference between what was provided to me is that it originally said a local notification system. So if board direction, is this engage in expansion of measures or an actual local notification system? And then we would leave out any question. We would not tell the district that we declined anything, but that you are committing to continue to engage in a conversation about expanding exposure mitigation practices, which is something that the Ag Commissioner has been working on with the community, and then also consideration of the development of local pesticide measures that could include anything. That included notification and include all sorts of things. That's the offer.
I think that captures what I was after. If it gives anybody any heartburn, I'm open, but I don't. That's good. That's good for me.
We're asking for notification.
The other point I would like to make is that, and I don't know how long ago this was, Mr. Fankhauser, a couple of years, I'm guessing, you offered a pilot program of notification and you were turned down.
That's correct. I'm not sure. It may have been 2 years ago. It was just prior to COVID, I think. So, yeah.
So I'll make a motion on staff's recommendation with that modification.
Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you. This is not my district. I'm not trying to stir the pot at all with regard to this. I just want to try to find a solution. So if you mind if I just ask a few questions? Mr. Aguirre, Senior, Ms. Oviatt just read some language that was an attempt to incorporate your concerns. Can you come forward and confirm if the language Ms. Oviatt used incorporates your concerns?
I think at this point, if the language is open for conversations, as I stated, I think that's what we want. Ideally, you know, if you can say we are going to start a notification, that will be ideal for us, but we understand, you know, the different opinions, but at this point, we at least want the language to keep the door open to have those conversations, because we don't want it to be killed, you know, as I mentioned.
Ms. Oviatt, does that language that you read does it not leave the door open to continued conversations?
It does, since it used the word measures. May I ask a question through the chair, through
Yes,
Supervisor
I'll come back to him in just a moment. Yes, ma'am.
What I want to clarify was the language you gave me actually in the final report, or was this the language that they had provided to the community group?
I believe that's the language that the last draft SERP's project, that's part of that after the feedback from the community.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Aguirre, before you leave, and Mr. Fankhauser and Ms. Oviatt, how can we address this issue of notification? If you made an offer before, Mr. Fankhauser, that you would offer some form of notification, whether it was accepted or not accepted, how can we put that on the table today and resolve that?
Well, in my mind, that's already on the table because the state has allocated $30 million for a notification system. So statewide notification is coming.
So I'm sorry, please finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
And it will most likely address all of the points that Mr. Aguirre and the other members of the public are concerned with. So it's coming. And to the point of Kern County not having a pilot project, nothing could be further from the truth. We initiated a pilot project, which was called a pilot project for grower-to-grower notification, I believe in 2008. And we continue to have that as a program, as a fully functioning program that recently I had to pay money out of my budget to upgrade the programming for that. And it's going to be used as a template for the statewide notification. So in a sense, Kern County has already participated in a pilot project.
And I'm just being blunt and to the point to make sure we're all on the same page. So Mr. Fankhauser, can you affirm to us that you are willing to have the implementation of the state's notification process included in the discussions that Ms. Oviatt referenced that will continue to take place?
I'm not positive I understand the question fully. But
will the implementation of the state's notification process be a part of the ongoing conversations that continue to take place going forward?
Yes, it will, because DPR, the State Department of Pesticide Regulation, is part of that, and they're the ones that are.
There's no choice but for that to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's just like anything else that I implement. If it's a state requirement that we do it, we're going to do it.
We're going to do it. Ms. Oviatt, does the language affirm what I just said in your mind?
Yes, it does.
Mr. Aguirre, with her and his affirmation that the notification process will be a part of those discussions, and it is inevitable that there will be a notification process, are you comfortable with that?
Well, I think on that one, I think there are two things. One thing that was mentioned, the statewide notification is in progress, to looking for input to be implemented, approved and implemented. So that's one thing. I think the other thing is that the struggle that the communities are having in having a local notification starting in Shafter with the 617. I think on that one, as I mentioned, if the Ag Commissioner is open, and that's one of the reasons that we believe that Kern County have the capacity to come up with a good pilot project to inform the state notification. That's what we believe. It's not that we just want to harass, the Ag Commissioner. Is that we believe that Kern County have the technology and the knowledge to contribute for the state notification. That's what we believe, and that's why we are asking, for the Ag Commissioner to be more engaged, because, it's in the last meeting, 617 meeting we had, he mentioned, we asked him if he was willing to participate, and he said it will be decided on the June 14th, this meeting. So he's looking for your advice, to get engaged, and that's what we are asking, if he's willing to meet with us and have the conversations with us. That's what we are asking, we understand, as a community, we want some things, the industry needs some things, but we want to explore those ideas. That's what we are asking.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Aguirre. He has indicated that he will participate in that. He is receiving direction from us to do so. Mr. Agbalog. Mr. Agbalog still here? Does the process that we've laid out and the ongoing discussions that will follow fit into the process that the Farm Bureau can participate in and buy off on? I can't, I'm not asking you to guarantee that your agreement to something that hasn't occurred yet, but are you able to do that?
I think I'm at the, I'm in a position where I would say if there's a seat at the table, we'll take it.
Very good. There will be a seat at the table for the Farm Bureau, will there not? There's a resounding head nodding up and down. Yes, there will be.
Very good.
Thank you. Mr. Rasmussen, is Mr. Rasmussen still here?
He is not. He's not.
Okay. I think that we have the, and without going through every single person, I chose Mr. Aguirre because I have trusted him and heard him speak on behalf of his community eloquently and passionately. So I hope others don't mind if I used him as the example for that. But I think we have touched on all the pieces to make sure that it covers all of that. Finally, Mr. Couch, this is your district. I'm not trying to take the ball from you, but are you comfortable that this accomplishes what fits inside your motion? You are. Very good. I'd second the motion then.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That brings us to item 46, which was pulled off consent, I believe by Supervisor Maggard. Proposed dissolution of Citizens Advisory Committee on Annexations. Recommended action is to refer back to staff for further study. And this is an item that is under
I'm going to add
the CAO's office.
Kern County Farm Bureau.
And so, absent some other suggestion, I will turn this over to Ryan Alsop for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know I have Mr. Brown from my office standing by. I'll try to handle this, and there may be questions. Supervisor Maggard, I know, had pulled this, so he may have some questions. But essentially, this is on the agenda, specifically to take it off the agenda, is what it is. The item, we are in a constant state of reviewing our business practices, right? Trying to streamline, finding efficiencies, et cetera. And this was a product really of combing through our many committees, commissions, et cetera, and seeing that this particular commission had not met in a decade, maybe even more than a decade. And it was simply under consideration for dissolution by my office. This was on a previous board agenda with that recommendation, but it was continued purposefully in order for us to have some more conversations with LAFCO and internally. And it was decided through those conversations at that time to bring this back, pull it back, because it was continued, so we've got to bring it up. It's got to be on the agenda. We're asking you to simply just refer it back to staff. And that is our recommendation. And I say that as a proud unincorporated area resident.
Thank you, Mr. Alsop. I'll ask if there's any member of the public that would like to make any comment on item 46. Okay, seeing none, the recommended action, as I said, was to refer back to staff.
Motion on staff.
No, I'll second the motion. I want to have a discussion with you, Ryan, about this item. Thank you.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Supervisor Maggard, excuse me.
Thank you. So I want to make crystal clear so the public doesn't have any misunderstanding today. This action that is, it says proposed dissolution of the Citizens Advisory Committee annexation, refer back to staff for further study. The title implies that the committee would be dissolved, but the action does not accomplish that, does it, Mr. Alsop?
At this time, there's no plans underway or any recommendations to dissolve this committee.
It just keeps the issue within the purview of the county to bring back at a later date if it were warranted for that to happen, and that will not happen until there's another discussion at this board level.
That's correct, Supervisor. And if anything, I'm pleased that the agenda item itself was a catalyst to interest, at least by three nice ladies that came here today, who I'm sure are representative of probably many more people who would have interest that were not able to make the meeting today.
Thank you. I want to say something before we take this vote. What a difference in time we are at today versus, I think, 22 years ago. If I've been here 16 and I was on the city council for 6, that's 22, and this was very early in my days at city council. So you think it's 24 years? Wow, 24, okay. What a difference we see the environment in which we have these discussions today versus then. We recently had some people come forward to us, allege that we were treasonous, that we could be hung, that all kinds of ridiculous, outrageous things being said about us, distortions, mistruths. what a completely different environment that people think that's what's acceptable today, as opposed to what many others, but principally these three ladies, did 24 years ago. I came to recognize as a rookie city councilman 24 years ago that there is no one with the passion and eloquence of these three and others, but principally these three. There is also no one with the perseverance and tenacity of these three. They have never raised their voice to us. They have never threatened us. They have never exaggerated facts to make a point. They used their passion and their understanding and their character to make points crystal clear to us. I am not able to read or quote or refer to the Gettysburg Address about government being, many people say government is of the people and by the people and for the, that is not the way that it was referred to us by these ladies. It was of the people, by the people, for the people that government is established and shall be preserved. And they had a profound effect on my view of how government should work. And I would not, during any time that I am here, go down a path that would remove, that would put me at odds with their passion about this, because I completely, I'm completely comfortable that they will do it the right way if it's necessary to do it again. Lastly, I want to say one more thing. It is a completely different environment than it was back then. This is nothing to do with Ryan Alsop or the CAO of the County of Kern, other than he's trying to run an efficient shop. He is not someone who would participate with a system that would manipulate or deny people their voice in a process. That is not who Ryan Alsop is. I want to make sure that's clear. It also is not who Kristen Clegg is, the new the city manager of the city of Bakersfield. I'm not speaking disparagingly of anybody who preceded him, but it is a different day at the city of Bakersfield as well. And it may very well be that there are, if annexations are on the table somewhere, that might be, I have no idea. But I'm confident that it is, as you saw by the offer made by the gentleman who stood up earlier today from the city, it is a different environment than it was. So I want to thank the ladies for being here. It's remarkable to me, Mr. Couch, that they look so much the same as they did 24 years ago, and you and I do not look the same as we did 24 years ago. Well, you do, maybe. I do not look the same as I did 24 years ago. So, okay, I will be happy to support the motion with the understanding that this is not doing anything to stop the process that this committee could participate in. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. In the scope of that commentary by you, I wanted to make sure that I know that we did have a motion and a second on the item. Madam Clerk, maybe I'm looking to you.
I would love to have a reiteration of that, because I'm not sure who made the motion and who made the second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think it was Couch and Maggard, but I'm not sure.
I made the initial motion, Couch seconded.
Okay, so motion by Supervisor Perez, second by Supervisor Couch.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. And now, having no further business to consider, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, June 21st at 9 a.m.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.